No, it says January, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay, so we're on a new subject now. We've completed the subject that we did so far with the wife, with her ksuba, whether she has to sell the ksuba, under what circumstances she's selling the ksuba to pay for injury that was caused.
Hooray!
Hooray, hooray. Yes, that was quite an accomplishment. Wow. So, yeah. So now we're on a new subject, and the first thing the Gemora wants to know is Lema Takanas Usha Tanoihi. Let's say that this enactment of Usha is a subject of Tanaic disputes. So this is on the 89b, and it's about 12 lines from the bottom of the page. That's the last word in the line, Lema.
89b3 at the bottom of the right-hand and left-hand column.
The left-hand column.
Bottom of the Gemara continues its discussion of the enactment of Usha.
Okay. Now, does anybody remember what the enactment of Usha was all about?
Good question. It was that we don't let her sell her ketubah.
That we say, yeah, something like that, right? When she sells, right? We didn't want her to to prevent the husband from being able to inherit the ksuba in the event that she goes before him, because that would have created not good feelings between them. Okay, so so the Gemara is saying over here now, and we were trying to prove the existence of Takanas Usha. And now the Gemara, and we saw that it seemed like there was a dispute about it, and now the Gemara says, let's say that it's a subject of Tanaic dispute. The Tanoim argue about whether there was such a thing as Takanas Usha. Okay.
Did I review what Usha said?
Yeah. Well, you have something over there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on 88b3. Because let's see, for Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina said, in Usha they enacted, if a woman sold malug property in her husband's lifetime and subsequently died, the husband removes the property from the possession of the purchasers.
Okay, so fine.
88 what?
88b3, right-hand column, second paragraph.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's what it does. We're talking specifically about Niksei Malug. That's property that really is not written into the ksuba. It's property that has no connection to the ksuba, but that like any property that she brings into the marriage, the husband, he gets the payros of the property during the marriage, but she remains the owner of the property. She remains the owner of the property. So as such, she should be able to sell such Niksei Malug property to a purchaser. But
Bill, please.
Okay, let me get to it. I gotta hold it. Gotta find the right button.
But because of Takanas Usha, the purchaser is not able to, he's not able to retain ownership of the property in the event that the wife passed away during the marriage. And so in that case, the husband would, he would inherit her, and therefore he would, that would mean that he would take the property away from the purchaser. And then he would be he would own the payros as well as the property itself at that point, according to Takanas Usha. Okay, so Alan, would you like to read for us? Lema Takanas Usha.
Right. Lema Takana Usha. Tenor E. Shall we say that the enactment of Usha is subject to a dispute among Tanayim? Tisani Chador, for one price of taught, Abdei Malod, Yotz Ain, Bashain, Ba'ain, Isha. Legal slaves go out free with the loss of a tooth or an eye inflicted by the wife. Ebor lo leash, but not with the loss of a tooth or an eye inflicted by the husband. The senior idoch, and it was taught in another brisa, lo ish below isha. Milag slaves go out free, neither through the loss of a tooth or an eye inflicted by the husband, nor through the loss of a tooth or an eye inflicted by the wife. See, you who lay our more Chinyan, Payros, Leo, Tian, go to me, and now those who suggested this interpretation assume that everyone agrees that ownership of the rights to produce of a property is not tantamount to ownership of the property's essence. My Leo, Lahore, Korah, Gay. Hence, it is not about the following issue that they disagree. Isha, that the one who says that the slave goes free through an injury inflicted by the wife, Takornas Oshor, does not subscribe to the enactment of Usha. We mourn low of Ish below Isha, and the one who says that the slave goes free neither through an injury inflicted by the husband nor through the one inflicted by the wife, Ish lay Takornas Ishur, subscribes to the enactment of Usha. Question.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to the beginning over here and see. We have two Rashis over here that are gonna go on the first part of this piece of Gemora over here. So the first thing we said was we got two brises, and now what the Gemara's, remember what the Gemara is trying to prove over here is that these two brises, which represent two different Tanaic opinions that are arguing about a specific case, when either the Isha or the Baal knocks out the eye or the tooth of the Eved Kanani, whether the Eved Kanani goes free. So that is the reason that they argue the way they do. The Gemara wants to suggest is because one Tana holds that there is no such thing as the enactment of Usha, and the other Tana holds that there is. And that accounts for the din of the Brisa. So what we have to understand is, how does it work together? How do these two things work together? What is the enactment of Usha? What does that have to do with whether this Eved goes free because somebody knocked his tooth out? And what's the difference whether it was the woman that knocked his tooth out or whether it was the husband that knocked the tooth out? Because okay, let's see how Rashi explains over here. Two Rashis over here. It starts off after this long Rashi that we learned. There's about 15 lines from the bottom of Rashi. First words in the line is Bain B'Shem V'Ayin Leisha.
Okay. If it bothers you, my humming, I'll stop. It's the shame, the ayin, with Isha, with the tooth or an eye of a woman, from a woman, apila, that's knocking it out. Et shena, knocked out his tooth. The sita, and blinded his eye. So that's just explaining what's happening to the shane and eye. Obviously, you have to do that with the shane and eye to get money for the slave to go free. I'm still not trying to figure out, and how we have the long Rashi is what is meant by the whole beginning of what is an avdei malug. How does a slave become a malug slave? What does that mean?
Oh, okay. So that's
What
a
is
good
this
question.
word? What is this word? Visima?
Blinded.
Blind?
Yeah, blinded his eye. Not that like you made him blind. A sima is a blind person. A suma is a blind person. A pila is to knock out the tooth, and the seamer is to blind the eye.
So what's Rashi telling us?
Nothing really that we didn't know. We're just talking about he's adding the fact that it mentions tooth and eye. There has to be a specific knocking of the tooth out and a blinding of the eye out, not just a damage to the tooth or an eye. It has to be the actual thing that would let the slave go free.
I think what bothers Rashi is, before we get to the question of Avdei Mulug, what's bothering Rashi is that the Gemora is the way the Gemora describes it. It's very it's a little bit hard to it could be misleading. It says Yotzin b'Shein v'Ayin leisha, the Avdei Mulug, which is the Eved Kanani, which has been brought into the marriage as property of the Isha. So instead of calling it Nichse Malug, instead of calling it the property of Malug, whatever Malug is, it just means that, like we say, it's property that's not written into the Ksuba. There's no guarantee on anything. It's not part of the Ksuba really. It's just property that she has, and so instead of calling it Nichse Malug, we call it specifically Avdei Malug. He is an Eved, which is owned by the Isha, brought into the marriage, and now the husband has he's got a right to the profits that the Eved Kanani can generate.
So the work that the Eved Kanani does accrues to the husband.
Right.
and the wife owns the goof, owns the body of the slave.
Right.
It's like the field. It's
Right.
like the field.
Right. Right. So just this expression that the Gemara uses, avdei malug, it just means a specific type of neches. It's a specific type of property that the wife is bringing into the marriage, which is an Eved Kanani. So we call it in this case we call it avdei malug. Okay, so now what the Gemara says is, in other words, this Eved Kanani who's been brought into the marriage as property of the wife. So we know that the halacha is right. We know that the halacha is that the owner of the Eved, the adon of the Eved, if he knocks out the eye or the tooth of the Eved, so now he's required to send the Eved free. The Eved goes free. So now what the Gemara is going to discuss over here, what these brises are going to discuss is who's the one, is it the Isha who knocks out the tooth? Or can the husband also knock out the tooth and send him free? Who's the one who's regarded as the Adon in this situation for purposes of the halacha, that if that person knocks out the eye or the tooth, then the Eved goes free.
How do you know it's an Eved Kanai and not an Eved Ivri?
Because there's no such din by an Eved Ivri. By an Eved Ivri, the din is just like every other Jew. You knock out his eye, you knock out his tooth. You have to pay him. It's got nothing to do with it. In this case, there's a special halacha that this Eved Kanani, you knock out the eye, you knock out the tooth, he goes free.
I see.
Okay, so the lashon of the Gemara is Yotzin Shein V'ayin Leisha. So what's bothering Rashi is what does this mean? The Shein and the ayin of the Isha? We're talking about the Isha's Shein, the Isha's ayin?
No,
Is that what we're talking about? So Rashi wants to clarify, no, we're not talking about the eye or the tooth of the Isha. We're talking about the fact that when we say Leisha, we mean that she was the one that knocked out the eye and knocked out the tooth.
Right. I see my confusion. My confusion was because I read the English, and the English says all that. So when I asked, what is Rashi telling us? I didn't realize that Rashi was telling us what they put in the English.
But that is the danger of Art Scroll. Art Scroll doesn't give a literal translation. Art Scroll gives the interpretation by Rashi in the translation already.
Well, no, but they make it clear because they put the interpretation in light face instead of bold face. So you know what's coming from the Gemara and what's coming from the not from the Gemara. It's just that I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. I mean, in other words, if you just read the words of the Gemara,
Right.
even before you read Rashi,
You don't know.
It's not clear what exactly the Gemara wants to say over here.
Right.
So Rashi's clarifying what's the eye, what's the tooth, and what's it got to do with the Isha? Okay. Now, and the next part of this. Now, remember, this is what the words of the first brisa that the Gemara is quoting over here. The Tani Chada. One brisa says Avde Milug, this Eved Kanani that the Isha is brought into the marriage, Yotzin, he goes out b'shein v'ayin leisha. He goes out with the shein and the ayin that the Isha knocks out, that shein v'ayin of the Eved. Then he goes out. What about the man? Avalo leish. The first Brisa says, but not if the Ish does it. So that's the Rashi right now. We should read the next Rashi. Avalo leish.
Sima Bava et Ayin. This is her husband now knocks winds the eye, Eved, of the slave, or Hapil et Shino, or knocked out his tooth. Lo Yetzel Cheru, he doesn't go out to freedom. With the She'ain Gufo Kunuilo, because he is not, he doesn't acquire the body of him to him. It's not an acquisition of the body to him.
Right. The husband doesn't have a kinyan in the goof of the Eved Kanani. And Rashi says that's the reason why if the husband would knock out the eye or the tooth, the Eved Kanani would not go free. Because the pasuk specifies that it's the Adon who knocks out the eye or the tooth, not just anybody who knocks out the eye or the tooth. The Adon, the master of the Eved. And in this scenario, the husband he doesn't have a kinyan goof in who's the Adon? The Adon is the one who has the kinyan aguf. So therefore, since the husband does not have a kinyan aguf, so the Eved is not going to go free if the Baal, the husband, knocks out the eye or the tooth. Now this is according to the first brisa. But now we got to go to the next brisa and see what the next brisa says. What did the next brisa say? Tanya Idach, back in the Gemora says, the Tanya Idach, and the other brisa says, Lo leish, below leisha. This Eved Kanani, he's not going to go out. He's not going to go out. Lo leish, below leisha. Whether the husband knocks out his iron tooth, whether the Isha knocks out his iron tooth, he's not going out. So now, there's no Rashi on this. So now the Gemora is going to try to explain what is the machloikis between these two brises. Why is it that the first brisa says, oh, when the Isha knocks out his iron tooth, he goes free, but not if the Baal does so. But the second brisa says the what's his name again? The Eved, he doesn't go out at all. He doesn't go out whether the Baal knocks out or whether the Isha knocks out. He doesn't go out. So why, according to that second brisa, why is it that the Eved doesn't go out? If the Isha knocks out his tooth, doesn't she own the goof of the Eved? Isn't she considered to be the Adon of the Eved? Is there no Adon of the Eved in that brisa? What's going? How do we understand this second brisa? It would seem that the first brisa is understandable. We're identifying the Isha as the Adon of the Eved, and accordingly, the Eved's going to go out if the Isha knocks out his tooth. But the Baal, he's not the Adon. He's just got the right to work the Eved. He's got a right to the profits of the Eved. He doesn't own Eved. He's not we wouldn't describe him as the owner of the Eved. He's not the Adon of the Eved. So we understand that if he knocks out his tooth, the Eved doesn't go free. Only with the Isha. But the second brisa is difficult to understand. Why is it that even if the Isha knocks out his tooth, the Eved doesn't go free? Why not? So this is what the Gemora is going to want to explain over here. Savrua.
Savrua.
Okay. Yeah.
Ba'alma Arvaihu Hani Tanoi Svira Lahu. So ordinarily, both of them would be conditional. We would think about this. Kinyan Perus Lav Kinyan Haguf. The acquisition of, or the ownership of the rights to the produce is not like the ownership of the body itself. Dame, they're not comparable. Bahacha hayinu tama, and here it is the reason deman de'amar, of the one who says lo leish, not for the husband, velo leisha, and not for the wife. Deis lay, that there is tiknas osa usha, tiknas usha. There is the decree of usha, hilchach mishum ish lo nafke, therefore, because the husband is not the owner, delo naki lahem, that naki is also ownership.
Nafki goes out.
No, goes out. Oh, that he does not go out from them, legufayu, for his body, mamash, his actual body, mishum isha nami lo nafke, because the woman also is not the owner. Da'alim. What is da'alim?
They strengthened.
They strengthened she avodeh, the condition of being a slave, lemai ke kanin haguf. What is lemai?
The mahave, to be regarded as,
to be the acquisition of the body. They strengthened the slave ship to be the acquisition of the body.
Okay, shibude over here doesn't mean the slave, even though it does have you're right, it does have the iron base dalid shorish of Eved. But here we're talking about a shibud. If you remember what is a shibud?
Partnership?
We had difficulty translating this. I think the art school translated it as a lien, and we weren't happy with that. translation.
Right. A dependency.
So in other words, when we talk about a shibud over here, we're talking about the shibud that the hold that the husband has on this eved. He has a certain shibud on the eved because of the fact that he owns the right to the profits of that the eved generates, and also the fact that perhaps it's also regarded as part of his shibud that he inherits his wife if the wife predeceases him. So there's a certain shibud that he has over the eved on this account. Primarily the fact that he has a kinyan paris, I believe. He has a kinyan paris when the wife marries him. That so that's the shibud that he has. And we said before, and we said over here in this Rashi that both of the brises hold that kinyan paris is lav kinyan aguf. In other words, midaraisa, according to Torah law, the acquisition of the right to receive the profits of property is not tantamount to owning the property itself. So what would that mean? That would mean that the Isha would be able to successfully sell the property to a third party, and the husband, he would not be able to stop that sale. He has no ability to withhold that sale, because all he has is a kinyan aguf, kinyan paris rather, midorais. But when Usha came along, because Usha comes along and says, "Oh, we're going to strengthen this shibud, this hold on the property that the husband has, and we're going to make it stronger than a mere kinyan haperos. We're going to make it's going to have the clout of a kinyan aguf that he has." And so therefore the nafkamina would be that if the woman tries to sell the nexei maluk during the marriage to cut out the husband, which she would have the ability to do according to Torah law, but Tekanas Usha came along and took that ability away from her, so that if she does sell the property to a third person, the husband would be able to take it out from that purchaser.
What happens to the produce during the interim when the husband and the wife are still alive? The husband keeps it?
Yeah, the husband keeps the produce. This
Okay.
can't affect the husband's the sale. The sale was not for the produce, clearly, because the husband had the right to receive the produce during the marriage. So the only thing that the woman was really selling was the ownership of the property itself. So in other words, instead of her being the owner of the property, this third party who purchased it from her would now be the owner of the property, but it would still be subject to the kinyan peros of the husband. The husband would still have the kinyan peros. But because of Usha, the woman is not really able to sell the property like that. So that
Because the third party gets absolutely no benefit.
So what happens is he's not getting any benefit here. Well, what's his benefit? I'll tell you what his benefit is. If the husband dies before the wife, then he's got some property over there.
Oh. So she could sell it then.
Yeah, in other words, the inheritors of the husband would not be able to would not be able to take this property away from the purchaser. I do not think so. So that's what he's buying, according
Right.
to Takanas Usha. We're just interested in preventing ill feelings between the husband and the wife. But as far as ill feelings between the inheritors of the husband and the wife, we're not going to go so far. We're going to allow the wife to sell her property. It is her property. It belongs to her, right? So we're going to allow her to sell her property to a third party. So now, what does this all have to do? What does this all have to do with this brisa over here? That's what Rashi is explaining. Which brisa is Rashi? Which brisa over here needs an explanation?
The second
First
one.
brisa, yeah, the second one is the one that needs the explanation. The first brisa is fine. We understand the woman has the kinyan aguf, and therefore, when she knocks out the eye of the Eved goes free. And if the husband knocks out the eye, he doesn't go free because he's not the master of the Eved. He just owns the right to work the Eved, but he's not the master. So he doesn't go free with if the husband knocks out the eye. That's what it says in the first brisa that we understand. But what we said we don't understand is the second brisa, that even if the Isha knocks out the Eved's eye, also the Eved doesn't go free. Why not? So Rashi's explaining that what the Gemora is suggesting over here is that this second brisa holds that the Takanas Usha controls the ruling in this case. And because on account of Takanas Usha, the husband's kinyan aperos is strengthened. That shibud that he has is strengthened. His hold on the Eved is strengthened, and we regard it, says Rashi, lemahave ka kinyan aguf. It's regarded as a kinyan aguf. So now, if the husband knocks out, so therefore, what happened? So therefore, the wife is not really she's not enough. She's not enough of an adon of this Eved now, because her kinyan aguf has been weakened. It's been weakened because of the Takanas Usha, because they strengthened the shibud of the husband, and the husband's shibud now is strengthened, and now neither one of them is gonna the Eved's not gonna go out either way, according to this second brisa.
I would think exactly the opposite. I would think that since the husband's kinyan has been strengthened, it's now like both the husband and the wife are the masters. And therefore, if either of them knocks it out, the slave should go free.
Well, can you have two kings? They only got one crown. How do you got two kings?
You can have a partnership. Two people can own something. What happens if two people own a slave?
Is it enough? Is it enough to be a partner in this case?
Right.
That's a good question.
We changed it to two people. Two people, they have a business. They're partners in the business. They buy a slave to be their worker. They own him jointly. And one of them knocks out his eye.
If one partner tries to sell the property of the partnership without the permission of the second partner, is he able to do that?
Without the permission.
Yes.
My guess would be no, but I don't know. Roy says yes. I don't know. Why do you say yes, Roy?
So yes, it's his property. If you cut the property in half, for example, then and they're sort of physically separated, that's his property. That's his bit. He can do what he likes with it. They just happen to be together.
Oh, okay. So now you've opened up the issue over here, Roy. Is that what's going on over here? We want to say that this partner owns his right arm. This partner owns his right leg. And that partner owns his left arm and his left leg. So who owns his head? We're going to split the head halfway down too?
Probably.
Well,
I wouldn't want to be Roy's slave.
so really, when we talk about a partnership, is that really the way that partners own property together?
Probably not. They should probably confer.
When partners own property together, what that means is that each one has a ownership that they share together with the other partner of the whole property as a whole.
Mm.
So
No bits and pieces.
not bits and pieces, no. So now, should one partner be able to sell the other part of the property to somebody without the go ahead of the other partner?
Seems no. Seems like no.
You would need to have because the sale has to be made by the person who owns the property.
Hmm.
And you don't really have that if only one partner is selling it.
And what if he goes ahead and sells? He can't really go ahead and sell because he might damage his partner's share.
Well, let's say, is that what it's dependent upon? Is that the reason why he's not able to sell any part of the property? Because he might damage his other partner's share?
That's probably a basic thing, not basic, a lower level reason. So I'll say no.
Okay, so.
Okay, it's kind of late now. I think we better get
Oh, it's
going.
kind of late. Oh, all right.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Okay.
Thanks, Phil.
Right.
Well,
All the best.
What
Have
is
a
the
great
word?
day, everyone.
What does the word sabrua mean?
Savru from the word savar.
the whole,
What?
kind of like they hold. You
The
can
whole.
do things. You can
To
do
think.
things.
To think.
Uh-huh. Ah, right. Thank you.
One guy, Savar, means it's his opinion. This is what he thinks. The other guy, he has a different Savar, different opinion, different way he thinks.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Be well.
All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Have a good